The U.S. Navy invited active duty Yemen second class Joshua Kelly, who identifies as non-binary and who is also a drag queen, to be a digital ambassador as part of a recent drive to attract the most talented and diverse workforce and combat plunging recruitment.
Kelly, whose stage name is Harpy Daniels, has shared their journey on TikTok and Instagram, where they described how they began performing on board and became an advocate for people who were oppressed for years in the service.
What do you think? Are drag queens the way to bring more people into military recruitment?
You know, our military recruitment is some of the worst, lowest levels this nation has ever seen. I think right now it's at less than 3%, especially amongst millennials, just because of not being able to pass the physical exam, the fitness test, in addition to just low interest. I believe in recruiting by whatever means necessary that doesn't include a draft. And our U.S. military has
all aboard for no draft.
They've had a long history of inequity towards various different types of minorities.
I thought you were going to say they have a long history of drag, which is also true.
I don't see a problem with this.
There are no women when they put on performances and play. You know, there's actually a lot of a long history of drag performances in the military. Period. That's what South Pacific is all about.
And it has happened for generations. I would argue that the military has a longer level of support in terms of drag shows than the history of America in general.
Right.
But I think that they're literally trying to throw everything and see what sticks in terms of recruitment. And it's not just for people who are trans or people who are non-heterosexual. It is a move to try to increase diversity. I know that they've also included DEI positions, at least at the federal level, that didn't exist before, trying to be as thoughtful and helpful as they can. And you know, they're in a tough spot. Our military does not have a lot of individuals who are actively deciding that that's what they want as their next career move in a way that they did 2, 3, 4 generations ago plus.
I mean, I guess Republicans will say the military is a right-leaning institution. The people in it are right-leaning, and they're going to be put off by this. I mean, the conservatives have developed a very sudden interest and dislike of drag queens, drag events. And look, I understand that many drag performances and events are not suitable for children, and I think the limited debate over some of those events that we've seen video footage of and why were children there is perfectly fine to object to. Plenty of drag is appropriate for adults, and again has a long history in the military itself. So if they turn this into a whole thing, I think they're going to be forgetting that, or maybe they just don't know that that's the case.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be largely supported by those who are in the military. Again, because it's not new to them. This isn't something that is extremely shocking because they've seen shows multiple times over and at various intervals of service. Largely, I do believe that there is going to be the culture war string hero. Now, drag and trans is attacking our military servicemen and women.
Well, drag and trans are two different things as well. I think the right is maybe doing a bad job on differentiating between them. Look, there's a debate over on the right at least, and actually there's a debate. Some people who would not describe themselves as conservative or Republican on any other issue have some issues with the claims being put forward by activists on behalf of transgender issues that you can't change your. They will say you can't. You're a man or a woman, you can't actually change that fundamental alternative. Obviously, consenting adults should do whatever they want, is my perspective. There's then a debate over how young you can be to do some of these surgeries and things. But that is actually all different than just, the point of drag is that you're not changing your underlying sex or gender. You're dressing up as the other sex or gender for performance and comedy and entertainment. A component of it is the ridiculousness of men in female clothing and women in male clothing, right? It's actually kind of it is not undermining gender norms in the same if you believe this from a right perspective in the same way that trans stuff is. They're actually very different, and they've been totally condensed into the same thing.
And I just say live, let live, personally.
Me too, but
pro-LGBT, and at the end of the day,
but maybe that's not the right thing to say to our military.
We as a nation pushed people into the closet for a very long time who served in our military, and I don't think that did them, personal justice either. But right now, the issue that the military has is recruitment. And that is something that they cannot seem to find their way out of. They have done several different types of recruitment campaigns, strategies, threw everything at the wall but the kitchen sink, and thus far nothing has been successful. We know that the actor from Creed 3, who's caught up in other issues right now, was supposed to be a lead of a campaign launch for them as well. That ended up falling apart. They want to get younger folks. They want to bolster interest.
The King guy.
Yeah.
What's his name?
They're trying to do the best that they can, and it's not helping them.
Yeah. Why do you think is recruitment down because people don't want to join the military because they don't agree with the military policies of the U.S. over the last 20 years or so, the disastrous nation building in the Middle East and that sort of thing?
I absolutely think so. I think that part of it is what we saw with what was false flagging in terms of the pretense that got us into wars that we did not get out of until 2+ decades later. In addition to that, there is a large and very vocal group that does not support military spending, that does not support the outgrowth of and the bloat that comes from the consulting class, that is very upset with not fully understanding or not fully being behind some of the military interventions we've taken and some of the long-term and oftentimes negative effects of those interventions that, to your point, failed nation building in certain places. And I'm not sure that there is a recruitment campaign that is going to solve that issue.
Right, and that's another criticism of this kind of thing. Instead of rethinking what our military and what our military might's role should be in the world and like actually listen to people on both the left and now more often the right who have made criticisms of what we've been doing. It's like no, we'll like slap wokeness on it. We'll make it diversity. We'll make it gender inclusive. We'll make it all of that stuff without rethinking it in any fundamental way.
And the secondary part is we are young enough to have people who served in Iraq and Afghanistan who have come back as veterans who don't think that they are getting their just desserts in terms of housing supports, in terms of mental health supports, in terms of being able to easily transition into the workforce outside of the military. The best and sometimes worse spokespeople for any work or career opportunity are people who've already served in that work and career opportunity. They are out here telling folks what their experience was, what their experience is now on the other side of it. And quite frankly, oftentimes it's not great.
All right, well, that does it for us for today. Ameshia, you'll be back here at the desk tomorrow, I understand, with Inez Stepman, and that will be very exciting. I will tune in. Everyone else should as well. I'll be back here next week. Brianna Joy Gray will be back as well. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any of our content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere that you can listen to podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a fun week, and I'll see you later.